Okay, let's kick things off with a quick introduction to Scrum. Think of it as a really helpful way to build complex products, whether that's an app, a website, or even something physical. Scrum is based on short cycles called sprints and emphasizes teamwork and constantly learning what works best. The three main players are the product owner, who decides what we're building, the development team, who actually build it, and then there's the Scrum Master, our guide and facilitator, helping everyone work together smoothly. Okay, let's talk about what a Scrum Master actually does. Think of them less as a boss and more like a supportive guide. Their main job is to help the team work together effectively. They're all about removing obstacles, anything that's stopping the team from getting their work done. They facilitate the key meetings like sprint planning and the daily scrum, making sure they're productive. And crucially, they coach both the product owner and the development team, helping them understand how to best use Scrum. Okay, let's talk about the core roles in a Scrum project. We have three key players: the product owner, the Scrum Master, and the development team. The product owner is like the CEO of the product. They are responsible for defining what we're building and making sure it meets customer needs. They keep a prioritized list of everything that needs to get done, called the product backlog. Then there's the Scrum Master. Think of them as a coach or facilitator. Their job is to help the team work smoothly, clear any roadblocks they encounter, and make sure everyone understands Agile principles. Finally, we have the development team. This is the group of people who actually build the product. They're self-organizing and cross-functional, meaning they have all the skills needed to get the job done. Okay, let's talk about what really makes the Scrum team tick: the values. These aren't just nice to haves, they're absolutely crucial. We've got focus, which means we're concentrating on our sprint goal and not getting sidetracked. Then there's openness, where honesty and sharing information are key to building trust. Respect is about valuing everyone on the team and their ideas. Commitment, that's all about dedication to actually delivering what we promised. And finally, courage. It's about being willing to speak up, challenge the status quo, and try new things, even if they feel a little scary at first. Okay, let's talk about the Agile Manifesto. It's a really important starting point for any Scrum Master. Basically, it boils down to 4 core values: prioritizing people and interactions over rigid processes, focusing on delivering working software frequently rather than getting bogged down in endless documentation, collaborating closely with customers throughout the development process, and being flexible enough to adapt to changing requirements. These aren't just guidelines, they represent a mindset that guides how we approach our work as Scrum Masters, helping us create more effective and responsive teams. Okay, let's talk about the core Scrum theory. It's built on 4 key ideas: empiricism, transparency, inspection, and adaptation. Empiricism means we don't expect to have all the answers at the start. We learn as we go by observing, experimenting, and reflecting. Transparency is huge. It's about open communication and making sure everyone understands what's happening with the project. We regularly inspect our progress through events like the daily scrum, looking for any roadblocks or areas that need attention. And finally, adaptation, because things will change. We adjust our plans based on what we learned during those inspections. Essentially, it's a constant cycle of learning and adjusting to get closer to success. Okay, so let's talk about the key events that keep Scrum moving. First, we have the sprint. It's like the team's little project window, usually lasting 2 to 4 weeks. Then comes sprint planning, where the team decides what they'll tackle and how. Next up is the daily scrum, a quick check-in for everyone on the team. After that, it's sprint review time, where the team shows off their work and gets feedback from stakeholders. Finally, there's the sprint retrospective. This is all about learning and getting better as a team. Okay, let's talk about sprint goals. Think of them as the North Star for your sprint, a clear and compelling statement of what you want to accomplish during those 2 weeks. It's not just a list of tasks, it's a big picture view of success. The team works together to define this goal, ensuring everyone is on the same page and understands how their individual work contributes to that overall outcome. It's ambitious but achievable, something that pushes the team slightly while still being realistic. And crucially, it needs to be agreed upon by the entire Scrum team. Okay, so let's talk about how Scrum teams ensure they're working on valuable things. We have two important concepts to understand: definition of ready and definition of done. Definition of ready, that's all about the backlog. It's like a checklist we use to make sure each item is clear, well-defined, and ready for our developers to actually start building it. Think of it as, is this thing understandable? Does it have enough information? Then there's definition of done. That's what done asterisk really asterisk means. It's about the actual work being completed to a high standard, making sure it meets all requirements and is fully tested. The key difference is do R gets us ready to build, while do D tells us when something is truly finished. Understanding these two helps keep our teams focused and delivering quality products. Let's talk about what makes Scrum tick, its artifacts. First, we have the product backlog. Think of it like our master list of everything that could be added to the product, from big features to small fixes. Then there's the sprint backlog, which is a smaller, focused list of what the team will tackle during a single sprint. And finally, the increment. This is super important. It's all the working, valuable bits we've delivered at the end of each sprint. It represents tangible progress and value for our users. Okay, let's talk about backlog refinement. Think of it as a regular checkup for your product backlog. The Scrum Master facilitates this session, where the development team and product owner work together to make sure all those user stories are clear, estimated, and ready to go into the next sprint. It's not just about adding more items, it's about ensuring they are well defined and that everyone understands what needs to be done. We break down big user stories into smaller, manageable tasks, discuss any confusion, and make sure the product owner has a clear picture of what's most important. Okay, let's talk about making our Scrum events really shine. The key here is facilitation, not leading. Think of yourself as a guide, helping the team stay on track and getting the most out of each meeting. Time boxing is super important. Setting clear time limits keeps things moving. Focus helps us avoid rabbit holes, and active listening ensures we're truly understanding everyone's perspective. Most importantly, remember to stay neutral. Let the team's insights guide the discussion. Okay team, let's talk about how we measure success in Scrum. We've got a few key metrics that really help us understand our progress and identify any snags. First up is velocity. This isn't about individuals, it's simply the amount of work your team completes during a sprint, usually measured in story points. Next, we have burn-up charts, which show how much work you finished compared to what you planned for the sprint, great for visualizing progress. Then there's burn down, which focuses on tracking the remaining work and helps us see if we're on track. Finally, let's look at cumulative flow diagrams, or CFDs. These give you a bird's eye view of your workflow, showing where tasks get stuck and highlighting potential bottlenecks. By monitoring these metrics regularly, you can keep the team focused, proactive, and delivering value. Okay, let's talk about user story mapping. It's a fantastic tool for Scrum Masters to really nail down what users are trying to achieve. Essentially, it's all about visually mapping out the entire user journey from start to finish. We begin by brainstorming the big epics which represent the major goals our users have. Then, we break those epics down into smaller, actionable user stories and arrange them in a logical order, mirroring how a user would actually interact with the product. Finally, we use arrows to show how these stories connect, highlighting dependencies and helping us prioritize what's most important. Okay, let's talk about how we estimate tasks in Scrum. We don't want to spend all our time trying to guess exactly how long something will take. Instead, we use relative estimation techniques. The most popular one is planning poker. It's a group activity where everyone silently writes down their estimates for a user story, often using story points. Then, we discuss why people chose those numbers, which helps us uncover any misunderstandings or assumptions. Another technique is t-shirt sizing. This is simpler. We just assign sizes like XS, S, M, L and XL to represent the effort involved. It's a really quick way to get everyone thinking about relative size and building consensus. Okay team, let's talk about leading Scrum teams that aren't all in the same room. Working remotely presents some really interesting challenges, but also amazing possibilities. The most important thing is communication. We need to be super deliberate about how we keep everyone connected. Daily stand-ups are especially vital for keeping things on track. Building trust is key to make sure everyone feels like they have a clear picture of what's going on and that their voice is heard. And let's not forget time zones. It's essential to be mindful of those differences when scheduling meetings. Tools like Kanban boards can really help with transparency, and taking the time for virtual team building activities can make a huge difference in morale. Finally, don't underestimate the importance of good documentation. Everything should be easily accessible. Okay, let's talk about how we, as Scrum Masters, tackle those frustrating roadblocks that pop up, the impediments. These aren't just simple problems, they are anything that stops the team from reaching their sprint goal. Think of things like missing tools and clear instructions, or even disagreements between team members. We start by actively listening to the team during retrospectives and using techniques like the 5 whys to really understand why something is blocking progress. It's crucial that we work collaboratively, involving the team in finding solutions and giving them ownership of those fixes. And sometimes, if we can't handle it ourselves, we need to escalate it to someone who can, whether it's the product owner or another Scrum Master. Ultimately, our goal is a happy, productive team, so let's keep tackling those obstacles. Okay, let's talk about how you, as a Scrum Master, can really champion those agile values and get your team thinking in an agile way. It's not just about running the sprints, it's about building a culture. We'll start by remembering the core agile values: commitment to delivering value, courage to tackle challenges, focusing on what's most important, and being open to new ideas and feedback. But those values are only the beginning. You need to actively cultivate an agile mindset within your team. That means encouraging them to embrace iterative development, getting something usable out there early and then building on it, prioritizing collaboration over individual work, and trusting that everyone is working together towards a shared goal. Okay, let's talk about coaching. It's a huge part of what makes a Scrum Master effective. When it comes to the product owner, your job isn't to tell them what to do. Instead, you focus on helping them make the best decisions possible. This means asking insightful questions like why are we doing this, and guiding them through things like product vision workshops. And with the development team, you help them become a truly self-organizing group, encouraging them to take ownership of their work, removing any roadblocks that get in their way, and facilitating productive retrospectives where they can identify what's working well and what could be improved. Okay, let's talk about building a really strong Scrum team. It's not just about having people with different job titles, it's about creating a team where everyone truly understands how their work fits into the bigger picture. We want to bring in folks with diverse skills: developers, testers, designers, product owners, so they can all contribute effectively. It's crucial that everyone has a shared understanding of what we're building and why, which is why workshops are essential for clarifying the product backlog and sprint goals. And finally, creating a psychologically safe environment where team members feel comfortable taking risks and communicating openly is absolutely vital to success. Okay, let's talk about handling conflict in agile teams. It's totally normal for disagreements to pop up. After all, you've got a bunch of smart people working together really fast. As Scrum Master, your job isn't to be the peacemaker and fix things, it's more like being a guide. First, take time to really listen to everyone involved. Make sure you understand what they're saying and how they're feeling. Then, dig deeper. What are they really trying to achieve? Often, conflicts arise because someone's needs aren't being met. Next up, separate the people from the problem. Avoid blaming or attacking each other. Instead, focus on the task at hand. You can use mediation techniques, guiding the team through discussion to find common ground. Brainstorming solutions together is also great. Just keep it positive and avoid judging ideas. Finally, encourage compromise and collaboration. Help the team work toward a solution that everyone feels good about. Your goal is to build the team's ability to handle disagreements themselves. Okay, so let's talk about keeping your Scrum team pumped up and engaged. It's really more than just ticking off sprint goals. It's about creating an environment where people feel valued and excited to contribute. We want to celebrate successes, big or small, publicly acknowledging individual and team wins. Collaboration is key too. Let's make sure everyone's talking, sharing ideas, and working together effectively. Providing opportunities for growth, like training and mentorship, shows you invest in your team's future. And crucially, giving them autonomy and ownership, trusting them to make decisions, makes them feel valued and accountable. Finally, don't forget regular feedback, but even more important is listening to what they have to say. Okay, let's talk about servant leadership, a really important concept for Scrum Masters. It's not about telling people what to do, it's about supporting your team so they can do amazing things. Think of yourself as their advocate and helper, someone who removes roadblocks and creates an environment where everyone feels valued and empowered to succeed. The key is listening deeply, understanding each person's needs, and always putting the team's goals first. Let's talk about continuous improvement, specifically how it fits into Scrum. Think of Kaizen as a philosophy of constantly seeking small, incremental changes for the better. As your Scrum Master, you're responsible for nurturing this mindset within your team. Retrospectives are key here. They aren't just blame sessions, but chances to identify tiny improvements we can make. Encourage experimentation, letting the team test new things. And when a problem pops up, use the 5 whys technique to dig down and find the real root cause, not just treat the symptoms. Let's talk about how Scrum Masters can help teams continuously improve. We'll explore 3 really useful retrospective techniques. First, there's the start, stop, continue method. Is a straightforward way to figure out what's going well, what needs to change, and what we should begin doing. Next up is the 4LS, liked, learned, lasted, and led. It encourages deep reflection on both positive experiences and actionable improvements. Finally, we have the sailboat technique, a great visual way to see where the team is headed and identify any obstacles in its path. All 3 are designed to foster open communication and collaboration. Okay, let's talk about facilitating those key Agile events. As a Scrum Master, you need to be more of a guide than a driver. When it comes to workshops, think collaborative problem-solving techniques like brainstorming and affinity mapping can really help the team build on each other's ideas. Then there's sprint planning, where you ensure everyone's aligned on the sprint goal and user stories are ready to go. Keep your daily scrums short and focused, 15 minutes tops. The sprint review is all about showcasing what's been done and getting feedback. And finally, the sprint retrospective. This is where the magic happens. It's a safe space for honest reflection and planning for improvement. Ultimately, you're there to create an environment where the team can thrive and deliver great results. Okay team, let's talk about getting our Agile efforts organized as we grow. First up is the Scrum of Scrums. It's basically a meeting where the Scrum Masters from each team come together to share updates and make sure everyone's on track. It helps them identify any roadblocks that might be affecting multiple teams at once. Now, when you need to scale your Agile practices beyond a single small team, you're looking at frameworks like SAFe or LSS. These help coordinate larger projects with many people involved. Think about it as bringing the same level of transparency and collaboration to bigger efforts. Okay, let's talk about scaling Scrum. As you become more proficient with individual teams using Scrum, you might find yourself needing to apply those same principles across larger organizations. That's where scaling frameworks come in. We've got 3 really popular ones: SAFe, LSS, and Nexus. SAFe is a pretty comprehensive approach. Think of it as a big map for your entire portfolio of projects. It's fantastic for companies that need to drive significant change. Then there's LSS, which takes a more minimalist view, focusing on doing Scrum really well with fewer roles. And finally, Nexus is a framework designed specifically for coordinating multiple Scrum teams working together, often within a single sprint. The best choice depends entirely on your company's size and how much structure you need. Okay, let's talk about how Scrum Masters work with other crucial players on a project: Agile coaches and product managers. Think of Agile coaches as experienced mentors who help the whole team and organization adopt Agile ways of working. They provide guidance, facilitate workshops, and offer valuable feedback. Then you have product managers. These are the visionaries who define what we're building, creating the product roadmap and user stories. As a Scrum Master, it's really important to build a strong partnership with both of them. That means making sure everyone has a shared understanding of the goals, communicating openly, and respecting each other's roles. Collaboration is truly key. Okay, let's talk about release planning and road mapping within the Scrum framework. Basically, a release is a significant delivery of value to users. It's more than just a quick code drop. The roadmap is our high-level plan showing what we're working on, when we expect to deliver it, and why we're doing it. The product owner owns this overall vision, but the Scrum Master really helps bring everyone together and make sure the team understands how their work fits into the bigger picture. We have release planning meetings usually every 1-3 months where we decide what features will be included in the next release. And importantly, our sprint goals act as a direct guide to the roadmap. What we can accomplish within a sprint will influence what shows up on the plan. Finally, keeping everyone updated on the roadmap is key. Transparency and open communication are essential. Okay, let's talk about managing risks in our agile projects. As Scrum Masters, we're not trying to eliminate all problems. That's impossible. Instead, we focus on being prepared and knowing how to handle things when they do pop up. We generally categorize risks into a few key areas: technical issues like problems with the code or architecture, resource challenges relating to our team members, potential schedule delays, and any changes in what we're building that could lead to rework. Scrum uses this continuous feedback process. A daily Scrum is great for spotting things early on, and the sprint retrospective helps us learn from past risks so we can plan better next time. We actively identify risks, assess how likely they are to happen and how bad they would be if they did, then come up with plans to reduce those chances or lessen their impact. And finally, we constantly monitor our risk list and adjust our strategies as needed. Okay, let's talk about dependencies in Scrum. Basically, a dependency is when one task or team needs something else like another team's work or a specific deliverable to complete its job successfully. There are different kinds of dependencies, from those within our own team to external factors like vendors. It's important to identify these clearly and document them. Then, we prioritize the most critical ones early in the sprint. Keeping everyone talking, especially during daily stand-ups, helps us spot potential issues before they derail a sprint. And finally, building some buffer into the backlog gives us wiggle room if things take longer than expected. Okay, so let's talk about how you can help the team manage relationships with external vendors in an agile way. The key is to move away from traditional contracts that often feel rigid and slow things down. Instead, we want to focus on value-based agreements. Think time box sprints with clearly defined deliverables. It's also really important to treat your vendors as partners, not just people you pay for a service. Open communication and shared understanding of Scrum are key to success. And don't forget about defining those acceptance criteria so everyone is on the same page about what done truly looks like. Okay, let's talk about something really important for Scrum Masters: technical debt. It's a term you've probably heard, but it can be tricky to understand. Basically, it's all those little shortcuts and compromises we make when building software, things like using quick fixes instead of writing truly clean code. It's not always bad, but if left unchecked, it can really slow us down. We'll look at a few types of technical debt like code debt, architectural debt, and even testing debt, and how each one impacts the team's productivity. As Scrum Masters, our job is to help the team be aware of this debt, discuss the trade-offs involved, and prioritize addressing it alongside delivering new features. Okay, let's talk about how Scrum Masters work with all those different people involved, our stakeholders. It's super important that we build good relationships and make sure everyone is on the same page. That means really listening to what they want and need, communicating clearly about what we're doing and why, and managing expectations so we're not overpromising or setting anyone up for disappointment. We create a constant loop of feedback to make sure we are building something valuable for them. Okay, let's talk about how Scrum Masters use different tools to keep things moving smoothly. We've got a few popular options out there. Jira, Azure DevOps boards, Rally, which is now part of Jira, and Trello. Jira is really powerful for tracking issues and managing workflows. It can be customized to fit almost any team's needs. Azure DevOps Boards is Microsoft's all-in-one solution that includes agile planning alongside continuous integration and deployment. Rally was fantastic for portfolio and program management, linking everything together. And then there's Trello, which is great for teams who prefer a visual Kanban board approach. It's super easy to learn and use. The best tool really depends on your specific team and project. It's all about finding what works best for you. Okay team, let's talk about keeping our Scrum teams thriving. It's super important that we're not just looking at the numbers like velocity or burn down charts, but actually understanding what they mean. We want to see if things are consistently flowing well, or if there are any surprises that need investigating. We also use tools like cycle time and lead time to see how efficient our processes really are. But don't forget the human element. Team satisfaction surveys and honest feedback from retrospectives give us a real pulse on what's working and what's not. And as we mature, we move beyond just reacting to problems to proactively identifying them and adapting our ways of working. Okay, let's talk about how to really help your team become more agile. As Scrum Masters, we're not just referees, we're coaches. It's all about building a supportive environment where the team can truly thrive. We start with servant leadership, putting the team first and helping them overcome any hurdles they face. Then, it's crucial to really listen to what's going on. Using powerful questions like what's working well helps uncover valuable insights. Facilitation is key too. Guiding conversations and retrospectives ensures everyone gets a chance to contribute. And finally, modeling agile values through our own behavior is incredibly important. Coaching isn't a one-time thing, it's an ongoing process of support and guidance. Okay, let's talk about how we help the Scrum team get better at estimating their work. As Scrum Master, you'll guide them through techniques like story points, which are all about relative effort and complexity, not just time. Planning poker is a fantastic way to get everyone on the same page during estimation. It's really collaborative. And sometimes a simple access to Excel sizing works great for initial ideas. Then we move on to forecasting, which isn't about predicting the future, but using their historical velocity, what they've consistently delivered over time, as a guide for planning upcoming sprints. Techniques like rolling wave planning and burn down charts are really helpful in that process, letting them see how much work remains and adjusting plans accordingly. Okay, so let's talk about agile release planning. Essentially, it's like creating a strategic map for your product's development, a high-level roadmap that shows you what features are going to be delivered and when, within a specific release time frame. We start by clearly defining the goals of that release, what we're actually trying to achieve. Then we prioritize the backlog using methods like MoSCOW, ensuring we're focusing on the most valuable items. We also need to estimate how much work can realistically fit into one release, and then build a timeline with target dates for each stage. Most importantly, it's not just the Scrum Master's job. Collaboration between the product owner, development team, and stakeholders is vital throughout this process. Let's talk about how quality fits into a Scrum team. It's not just about finding bugs at the end, it's a core value. Agile quality assurance focuses on building quality in from the start. We use techniques like test-driven development, where you write your test before writing the code itself. This helps clarify what needs to be built. Then there's behavior-driven development, which means defining exactly how the software should behave and then creating automated tests to make sure it does. Continuous integration and delivery is also key. Automating testing as part of our build process means we get feedback quickly. And don't forget pair testing, where two people test together, improving the quality and knowledge transfer. By prioritizing these practices, we ensure that each sprint delivers real value for the users. Okay, let's talk about time boxing. It's a really powerful tool in Scrum. Basically, it means setting a strict timer for how long you'll work on something. Think of it like saying we're going to spend exactly 30 minutes brainstorming ideas for this feature. This isn't just about being efficient, it forces the team to prioritize and keeps things moving forward. We use time boxes in all sorts of meetings, from sprint planning, where we decide what we'll work on during the sprint, to our daily stand-ups, where everyone gets a quick chance to share what they're working on. And then, for reviews and retrospectives, it helps us have really focused discussions and get concrete action items out. Okay, let's talk about sprint capacity planning. It's all about figuring out how much work your team can realistically tackle in a sprint, and it starts with understanding what you actually have available. We look at past performance, track everyone's availability, break down the tasks into smaller pieces, and then add a little buffer to be prepared for anything unexpected. Essentially, we're calculating how many hours of work our team can realistically accomplish during that sprint time frame. Okay, let's talk about how Scrum Masters approach leadership. It's really different from the traditional way things used to be done. The core difference lies between command and control and servant leadership. In a command and control style, the manager is telling everyone exactly what to do, expecting obedience. As a Scrum Master, you're there to remove obstacles, not dictate tasks. You're building trust, fostering collaboration, and empowering your team to self-organize, basically helping them create their own best solutions. It's less about telling and more about guiding . Consider it like this: a conductor doesn't tell the orchestra each note to play. They inspire the musicians to work together harmoniously. Okay, let's talk about facilitating backlog refinement sessions, a really important part of Scrum. Think of it as a team meeting where we make sure everyone understands what needs to be done next and why. As the Scrum Master, your job is to keep things moving forward, making sure the discussion stays focused on clarifying items, estimating their effort, and ensuring everyone's aligned with the sprint goal. It's all about creating a collaborative environment where questions are welcome and priorities are clear. Okay team, let's talk about delivering value. As Scrum Masters, we need to make sure every single thing our team builds is actually making a difference for the customer. This slide outlines how to prioritize our work based on those key metrics, things like how happy customers are or what revenue we're generating. It's not just about what we build, but why . We want to align each sprint with a clear goal that directly contributes to these value measurements. And importantly, let's keep the conversation going during sprint reviews, constantly inspecting and adapting our approach based on whether we're actually delivering what matters most. Okay, let's talk about how we can use lean thinking as Scrum Masters to really boost our team's performance. Basically, it's all about getting rid of anything that's wasting time and energy to waste in lean principles. We're looking for things like defects, delivering too much at once, waiting around for information, or not fully utilizing everyone's skills. There are 7 types of waste we need to be aware of. Then, we can apply techniques like limiting work in progress, keeping our daily stand-ups tight and focused, using Kanban boards to visualize the flow of work, and regularly having retrospectives to continuously improve our processes. Okay, let's talk about agile compliance and governance, a really important part of being an effective Scrum Master. It's not just about ticking boxes, it's about building a solid foundation for your team to thrive within the larger organization. We're looking at things like aligning with standards that might already be in place, setting up clear decision-making processes so changes don't derail the sprint, and tracking metrics but in a way that actually shows how well the team is delivering value. Your role here is to be the connection between the team and those governance structures, making sure everyone's on the same page and addressing any roadblocks related to compliance. A little documentation goes a long way, and regular retrospectives are fantastic for finding areas where things could be improved. Always keep your stakeholders in the loop too. Okay, let's talk about product increment inspection. This happens during the sprint review. Think of it as a really important conversation between the team and stakeholders. It's not just a demo, it's a deliberate check-in. The team presents what they've built, and then everyone, including the product owner and maybe some users, shares their thoughts. Are we meeting our goals? Is it actually useful? The inspection is about getting honest feedback and using that to shape the next steps, adjusting the backlog or even changing our priorities if needed. It's a key part of ensuring the product keeps moving in the right direction. Okay, let's talk about empirical process control in Scrum. Essentially, it's how we manage and get better at our work, not with rigid plans, but by constantly looking at what's happening, figuring out what we think is going on, and then adapting based on the results. We do this through 3 key pillars: transparency, where everyone knows what's up; inspection, which means regularly checking in on how things are going through our ceremonies like sprint reviews and retrospectives; and finally, adaptation, making changes to our plans or process based on what we learn. Scrum Masters play a vital role in this, encouraging open communication and advocating for those adjustments. Okay, so let's talk about how a Scrum Master handles changes during a sprint. Agile is all about being flexible, and that means change happens, it's not always avoidable. The key is to embrace those changes as opportunities for improvement. We need to be transparent with the whole team, keeping everyone in the loop about what's happening and why. Collaboration is super important too. Getting stakeholders involved ensures everyone understands the impact and feels like they have a voice. And finally, we continuously inspect how these changes are affecting our work and adapt accordingly. When it comes to managing change with an asterisk sprint, it's often about prioritizing: can this new thing fit in, or should it wait until the next sprint? And rarely, if ever, might we need to adjust the sprint goal itself, but only with full team agreement. Let's talk about how a Scrum Master helps us discover what we should actually build. It's not just about managing sprints, it's really about creating an environment where the team can actively explore ideas and figure out what truly matters. A Scrum Master facilitates key meetings like backlog refinement, guiding the team to prioritize and understand user needs. They also step in to remove any roadblocks that might be slowing down exploration, think access to data or getting different teams to collaborate. And importantly, they coach the entire team on techniques like how might we questions to spark creativity and ensure everyone is on the same page. Finally, a good Scrum Master acts as a shield, protecting the team from interruptions so they can truly focus on discovering value. Okay, let's talk about working agreements and team norms. Think of these as the unwritten rules that help your Scrum team function smoothly. They're not just arbitrary guidelines, they're things you agree on together. Why are they so important? Well, they bring clarity and consistency to how you work, which means less confusion and more efficient collaboration. It also helps speed up decision-making because you don't get bogged down in debates about how we've always done things. You can start with a few core areas like meeting habits: how often do we meet, and what goes on. Then you might define communication channels, your definition of done, and even how to handle disagreements. It's all about building trust and shared expectations within the team. Just remember to revisit these regularly during retrospectives, they aren't set in stone. Okay, let's talk about Scrum boards. They're really important for keeping everyone on the same page in a Scrum team. There are 2 main types. You can use a physical board with sticky notes, which is fantastic for face-to-face collaboration, or a digital tool like Jira or Trello, which is great for remote teams and more complex projects. The board is typically organized into columns: to do, where tasks are waiting to be started; in progress, where people are actively working on them; review/testing, where things need to be checked out; and finally, done, that's where completed work lives. Don't forget to break down big user stories into smaller, actionable tasks, and keep the board updated regularly with your backlog grooming. Okay, let's talk about burn up and burn down charts, super important tools for a Scrum Master. A burn up chart shows us the remaining work in a sprint over time, like a shrinking to-do list. A burn down chart then tracks how quickly we're completing that work. A consistent slope means things are going well, but a steep drop could signal we need to talk about our estimates or something's blocking progress. Flatlining? That's a red flag. These charts aren't for pointing fingers, they're all about keeping everyone informed and tackling any issues together. Okay, let's talk about how Scrum Masters help tie the team's work into the bigger picture. We use KPI and OKR. Think of them as measuring sticks for success. KPI are like individual performance indicators, things we track to see if we're on target, such as cycle time or throughput. Then there are objectives and key results. These set out what we're trying to achieve and how we'll know when we've succeeded. As a Scrum Master, You play a key role in facilitating the creation of these goals, making sure they're realistic yet challenging, and then actively discussing them during retrospectives to keep everyone aligned on how their work impacts those overall business objectives. Okay, let's talk about how Scrum Masters help teams make decisions. It's not about you directing them, it's about creating an environment where they can work together effectively. There are a few powerful techniques. We use things like round-robin brainstorming to make sure everyone gets a chance to speak up, and dot voting for quick prioritization. Impact mapping is also really helpful. It helps the team visualize how different choices will affect the project's overall success. And don't forget about silent brainstorming. Sometimes letting people think quietly before sharing can unlock some great ideas. Your job as Scrum Master: create a space where everyone feels comfortable contributing and understanding the reasoning behind each decision. Okay team, let's talk about taking Scrum beyond just implementing the framework. It's about fundamentally changing how we work and think. We need to build an actual agile culture that means getting buy-in from leadership so they understand it's not just a process but a way of operating. Giving teams more autonomy and trusting them to make decisions is huge too. And don't forget the importance of continuous learning, regularly reflecting on what's working and what isn't through those vital retrospectives. Finally, breaking down silos between departments and encouraging collaboration will really drive agility forward. Remember, this isn't a one-time fix, it's an ongoing journey of adaptation and growth. Okay, let's talk about identifying those hidden roadblocks that can slow down a Scrum team. These aren't just isolated problems for individuals. They're bigger systemic issues within the organization itself. We're looking at things like complicated processes, maybe a lack of skills or clear communication between teams, outdated technology, or even cultural factors like resistance to change. To find these impediments, we use techniques like actively listening in team retrospectives, asking them what's slowing them down and what they want to stop doing, start doing, or continue doing. We also pay attention to data. Metrics can often reveal problems before the team even realizes they exist. And don't forget to talk to people outside of the immediate team, like product owners and management, to get their perspective on any challenges. Okay, let's talk about documentation for Scrum Masters. It's not about creating massive reports, it's really about ensuring everyone has access to the information they need. We want a clear product backlog thing, prioritized user stories that are easy to understand. The sprint backlog should be visible to the entire team, with well-defined tasks and estimates. A crucial element is our definition of done, making sure we all agree on what done actually means for each task. And don't forget about retrospectives. Capturing key learnings from those sessions is vital. Finally, release notes keep stakeholders informed about the value delivered. Let's talk about getting a new Scrum team up and running smoothly. The first step is making sure everyone understands the core principles of Agile and Scrum. We'll start with some basic training and work on creating a team charter, basically an agreement on how you'll all work together. It's important to clearly define roles like product owner, developers, and Scrum Master. You might even consider doing a Sprint 0, which is a short initial sprint just to set things up and get the team aligned. Finally, remember that building a great team isn't just about assigning jobs, it's about creating an environment where everyone feels safe to share ideas and collaborate effectively. Regular retrospectives can help with this. Okay, let's talk about how we use data as Scrum Masters, specifically Agile metrics and dashboards. It's really important to go beyond just tracking what's done. We want to understand why things are happening. We have a few key categories of metrics: velocity, which is essentially how much work the team completes in each sprint; cycle time and lead time, which tell us about efficiency, how long does it take for a task to actually get done. And then there's burn-down charts and cumulative flow diagrams. These are visual ways to see if we're on track with our sprint goals. Finally, creating effective dashboards is key here. Focus on just the most important metrics, make sure they're easy to understand, and tailor them to who you're presenting the information to. Okay, let's talk about how Scrum Masters handle conflict. It's a really important part of our role. The first step is all about truly listening to everyone involved, making sure you understand their perspective completely. Then we need to dig deeper and find the real reason behind the conflict, not just the surface issue. We can use techniques like the 5 whys to get to the root cause. Next, let's create a space where people feel comfortable discussing things openly, focusing on we instead of blaming individuals. Brainstorming together is key. Get the team involved in finding solutions. Finally, it's crucial to agree on a concrete plan with clear steps and who's responsible for what. Okay, let's talk about the key distinction when it comes to Scrum Masters coaching versus mentoring. Mentoring is like having a seasoned colleague step in and offer direct advice. They share their experience to help you grow your skills or tackle specific challenges. Think of it as a trusted advisor for personal development. On the other hand, Agile coaching focuses on the whole team. A coach doesn't tell the team what to do. Instead, they use powerful questions to help them figure out how to deliver value themselves and remove any roadblocks in their way, empowering them to take ownership of their work. Let's talk about Agile communities of practice. Think of these as your go-to groups for all things Agile. They're essentially informal networks that help teams learn from each other and build up their expertise. There are different types, like communities focused on specific tools, those dedicated to refining our processes, or even ones geared towards supporting people in particular roles. The main goal is to foster better collaboration, share knowledge, and ultimately boost team performance by breaking down those silos and encouraging a more connected approach. Okay, let's talk about getting multiple teams working together smoothly. As a Scrum Master, you play a huge role in this. It's really important to make sure everyone is on the same page. That means building shared understanding of the big picture and what we're all trying to achieve. Regular meetings, like Scrum of Scrums, are fantastic for sharing updates and spotting potential problems before they cause delays. Also, mapping out those dependencies between teams can be incredibly helpful. Think of it like a roadmap showing how everything connects. And crucially, having a clear path for escalating issues when things get tricky. That's key to keeping the momentum going. Okay, so let's talk about how to make Scrum work really well when your team members aren't all in the same room. Distributed teams have some special needs, but by focusing on autonomy, good communication, both quick chats and thoughtful updates, and making sure everyone's on the same page, you can absolutely thrive. We'll break it down into a few key areas. First, think about organizing your teams into smaller pods, which are like mini Scrum teams. Then, establish clear meeting rhythms that work across different time zones, balancing synchronous sessions with asynchronous updates. And crucially, everyone needs to have access to the same product backlog and help prioritize it together. Finally, make sure you're tracking dependencies between those pods, because when one team is blocked, it can impact the whole system. Okay, let's talk about how to really empower your Scrum team. It's not about giving them orders, it's about building trust and giving them the tools they need to thrive. First, you have to create a safe space where people feel comfortable sharing ideas and taking risks without fear of failure. Next, give them the authority to make decisions about their work. That means trusting that they know best how to get things done. Regular retrospectives are vital for this. It's a chance to learn from what worked and what didn't. And finally, invest in training and coaching to help your team grow and develop their skills. Okay, let's talk about how Scrum Masters use metrics to help teams get better. We're not just collecting data, we're looking for clues. There are a few key metrics like velocity, which tells us how much the team can accomplish in a sprint, and cycle time, which highlights where things might be slowing down. Lead time gives us a broader view of efficiency, and throughput shows overall output. The important thing is to interpret those numbers. Don't just look at them in isolation. It's about understanding what the trends mean within your specific team. Once you spot something interesting, like velocity dropping or cycle time increasing, then it's time for some investigation. Figure out why that's happening and experiment with small changes to see if they help. Okay, let's talk about how we make sure our Scrum teams are actually delivering what they promise. We need to think beyond just assigning tasks. It's all about understanding their capacity, which is the realistic amount of work they can get done in a sprint. And then there's load balancing, which means distributing that capacity effectively across everything on the sprint backlog. Things like interruptions, dependencies on other teams, or really complex stories can actually reduce our team's available capacity. So it's important to be mindful of those factors and use strategies like prioritizing carefully, breaking down big tasks into smaller ones, and actively managing any dependencies. Finally, regular planning sessions where the team discusses their velocity and adjusts sprint goals are key. Let's talk about building a truly effective team, and that starts with how we give and receive feedback. In Agile, it's not enough to just have reviews. We need an culture of ongoing feedback. Think daily stand-ups where everyone shares what they worked on and what's next. Sprint reviews where the team shows off their accomplishments and gets input from stakeholders. That's vital. And then there are retrospectives, where the whole team takes a step back to reflect on the past sprint and figure out how to do things even better. Don't forget about peer feedback, either creating an environment where people feel comfortable offering constructive criticism to each other builds trust and helps everyone grow. As Scrum Masters, our job is to make sure this culture flourishes, creating a safe space for honest conversation and turning feedback into real action. It's really the key to continuous improvement. Okay team, let's talk about sprint cancellations. It's not something we want to do, but sometimes it's the smartest move. We only consider a cancellation when our initial goal is truly unreachable due to major obstacles or changes in scope. The key here is transparency and collaboration. First, the entire team needs to have an open discussion to confirm if cancellation is necessary. Then we'll let the product owner and relevant stakeholders know about the decision, explaining why it's happening. Following that, we'll conduct a retrospective, not to point fingers, but to learn what went wrong and how we can improve our process moving forward. Finally, we'll work together to set a new sprint goal and prioritize the most important backlog items for the next iteration. It's about adapting and delivering more value overall. Okay, let's talk about continuous delivery and integration, often shortened to CI/CD. As Scrum Masters, we want our teams delivering value as quickly and reliably as possible, and CI/CD is a fantastic way to achieve that. Essentially, continuous integration focuses on merging code changes into a shared repository frequently usually multiple times a day. This triggers automated builds and tests like a quick sanity check. Then, continuous delivery takes it a step further by automating the entire release process. It ensures that new code can be deployed to production really quickly and predictably. Automation is a huge theme here, as is getting that rapid feedback on any integration issues so we can fix them fast. And increasingly, teams are using infrastructure as code, basically managing their servers and environments through code itself, which makes everything more consistent. Okay, let's talk about how value stream mapping can really help you as a Scrum Master. Basically, VSM is a tool to visualize how value gets delivered to the customer. We start by figuring out what the whole process looks like from when someone asks for something all the way through to when they actually get it. Then we map out each step in that process, noting how long things take and how information flows between teams. It's a really good way to spot bottlenecks and waste anything that doesn't directly add value from the customer's point of view. Once you've identified those areas for improvement, you can design a future state map showing a smoother, more efficient process. It's all about making improvements based on a clear understanding of the flow. Okay, let's talk about defining value in Scrum. It's a really important concept. It's not just about building features, it's about making sure we're actually solving problems for our customers and helping the business achieve its goals. Think of value as the benefits someone receives from our work. That could be anything from a happier customer to increased revenue. The product owner is the main person responsible for defining what the value is, but it's something the Scrum Master helps uncover by asking questions and making sure everyone understands how their work contributes. Okay, so let's talk about what makes a really great Scrum Master. It's not just about tracking tasks, it's about being a true servant leader for the team. You need to be focused on supporting them and helping them remove any roadblocks that are slowing them down. Key competencies include things like prioritizing the team's needs, facilitating productive meetings, and even resolving conflicts when they arise. And then there's a whole set of essential skills: clear communication, really listening to what your team members are saying, understanding emotions, and being able to coach and mentor them as they grow their agile knowledge. Basically, it's about building a strong, high-performing team. Okay, so let's talk about how we can really coach our Scrum teams. As a Scrum Master, it's not just about keeping the process on track, you're there to help them grow and improve. We'll be looking at two handy frameworks: Grow and Clear. Grow: goal, reality, options. Will is a great way to understand what the team wants to achieve, where they are actually at, explore some possibilities, and then figure out what they're going to do about it. Then there's Clear: context, list, explore, action, review. This one helps you get into the why behind a situation, brainstorm solutions together, weigh your options, and finally decide on a plan. Both of these models are fantastic tools for guiding conversations and helping the team take ownership. Okay, let's talk about change. Agility and adaptability, these are huge for Scrum Master. It's not just about following the plan, it's about being ready to pivot when things don't go as expected. The core idea is embracing uncertainty and seeing it as an opportunity to learn and grow. We need to foster a culture of experimentation, where teams feel safe trying new things. Regular retrospectives are vital for gathering feedback and making adjustments. We're constantly refining our approach. And remember, as a Scrum Master, you're there to support the team, removing roadblocks and empowering them to make smart decisions independently. Basically, it's all about being flexible and responsive, which directly impacts how well the team can deliver value. Okay, let's talk about leading agile transformations. It's way more involved than just starting to use Scrum. First, you need to really understand where things stand now, how your teams work, what the biggest challenges are, and frankly, where things aren't quite flowing smoothly. Then, you build a clear vision for what Agile looks like at your organization and map out a roadmap to get there, step by step. It's smart to start with small pilot projects to prove the value of Agile and learn along the way. Don't forget, training, equipping teams with the right knowledge is key, and a good Scrum Master will constantly be helping them overcome any obstacles they face. Okay, let's talk about engaging stakeholders in Agile. Think of it like building bridges. You need to understand who your people are, what they want, and how to keep them connected throughout the project. First, we identify all the stakeholders. That could be anyone from users directly to marketing and operations. Next, it's vital to really listen to their needs and expectations. Don't just guess. Then, consistent communication is key. Use things like sprint reviews to share progress and gather feedback. And finally, managing expectations effectively. Agile means changes happen, so open dialogue around trade-offs is essential. Okay team, let's talk about facilitating the Agile product roadmap. As a Scrum Master, your role here isn't to tell people what the roadmap should look like, but rather to help everyone from the development team to sales and marketing come together and build a shared understanding of where we're headed. First, you need to gather all the input you can, talk to the team about what they are struggling with, listen to customer feedback, and get insights from other departments. Then, use techniques like dot voting or affinity mapping to really surface those key priorities. Don't forget to apply prioritization frameworks like MoSCoW to help make objective decisions about what gets built first. Finally, create a clear visual roadmap, a timeline or something that shows the planned delivery of features over time, and remember that this isn't set in stone. It needs regular revisiting and adjustments based on new information. Got any questions? Okay, let's talk about how Scrum Masters make sure the team is working on the right things. Prioritization is absolutely key. We'll look at 3 common techniques. First up, MoSCoW, a straightforward way to categorize items as must have, should have, could have, and won't have. Then we have WSJF, used by Spotify, which weighs the value of an item against its cost and how long it takes to build it. Finally, there's RICE, reach, impact, confidence, and effort, a great framework for thinking about what will actually make a difference. Okay, let's talk about how Scrum Masters can really help their teams work together effectively. A big part of this is using the right collaboration tools. Think of Slack or Microsoft Teams. Those are fantastic for quick chats and sharing files instantly. Then you've got project management platforms like Jira, Trello, or Asana to keep track of tasks and sprints. Google Workspace, with docs, sheets, and slides, allows everyone to work on the same documents at the same time. And don't forget virtual whiteboarding tools like Miro or Mural. They're brilliant for brainstorming sessions. The key is finding a few tools that fit your team's needs and making sure everyone knows how to use them. Okay, so let's talk about how Scrum Master handles changes during a sprint. It's completely normal for things to shift. That's why sprints are designed as flexible iterations. The first thing we need to do is quickly assess the impact of any proposed change. Is it a big deal that will throw off our plan, or something small? Then we have several options. We can push it to another sprint, reduce what's being done this time around, or if it's really minor, just accept it and adjust our estimates. During the daily scrum, it's crucial to openly discuss these changes with the team. Keeping an eye on our velocity, how much work we're completing each sprint, is also really important because unexpected changes can affect our ability to predict how much we'll actually get done. Okay, let's talk about how we keep things on track, specifically focusing on agile compliance and risk management. As Scrum Masters, it's our job to ensure the team is following the guidelines of the Agile Manifesto and the Scrum Guide. That means making sure everyone consistently participates in our daily ceremonies like sprint planning and daily stand-ups, and that we're accurately tracking those product backlog items. But compliance isn't just about rules, it's also about building a culture of open communication. Now, let's move on to risk handling. We need to anticipate potential problems before they derail the project. We do this by working with the team to identify risks, prioritize them based on how likely and impactful they are, and then come up with concrete plans to deal with those issues, assigning ownership and making sure everyone is aware of what's going on. Okay team, let's talk about technical debt. It's that sneaky cost of making quick decisions in development. It's totally normal to accumulate some, but we need to track it. Why? Well, ignoring it leads to more rework and wasted time. We can keep an eye on our velocity. Are we consistently delivering fewer features than we estimate? Retrospectives are great for surfacing technical debt during those discussions. And finally, a dedicated backlog item. Think of it as a debt ticket. Helps us prioritize what needs fixing. Let's use a simple table to track the problem, its impact, how much effort it will take, and finally, how important it is. It's all about managing that debt effectively, not letting it pile up. Okay, so let's talk about how we can really track our progress and make smart release decisions. We're going to look at release burn-up charts. They are a fantastic way to visualize how much work we've actually completed against what we originally planned. Think of it like this. You have a target line showing the ideal amount of work that should be done by a certain time, and then as tasks get finished, we burn them up across the chart, showing our actual progress. It's super helpful for spotting potential issues early on and keeping everyone on the same page. And when we use these charts during release planning, it helps us estimate how much we can realistically fit into a sprint or a larger release. Looking at trends will help us prioritize and ensure we're delivering value consistently. Okay team, let's talk about Agile maturity assessments. Basically, they're tools that help us understand how well our team is actually applying Agile principles. There are several models out there like CMMIDEV or the Spotify model, but they all look at things like team structure, process adherence, and how effectively we're communicating and continuously improving. As Scrum Masters, it's our job to use these assessments to spot where a team is doing great and where they can grow. Think of it as a roadmap for becoming even better at delivering value. Okay team, let's talk about how we can measure the success of our Scrum teams. It's not about pointing fingers, but rather understanding where we're strong and where we could improve. We look at things like velocity, essentially how much work we reliably get done in a sprint. Then there's cycle time, which is how long it takes for a task to go from start to finish. The shorter the better. Throughput tells us about the overall number of tasks completed, and lead time gives us the big picture. How long does it really take to deliver something? Finally, burn-down charts are super helpful visual tools that track our progress. These metrics help spark conversations and drive real improvements, so let's use them wisely. Let's talk about getting certified as a Scrum Master. There are several popular paths you can take, each offering different levels of depth and recognition. The Certified Scrum Master from Scrum Alliance is a great starting point. It really focuses on the core ideas of Scrum. If you want to go deeper, the Professional Scrum Master Roman 2 from Scrum Org is highly respected within the Agile world and tests your understanding of more advanced techniques. And if you're working in larger organizations that use scaled Agile framework, then the Safe Scrum Master certification will be incredibly valuable. Think about where you are now and what you want to achieve with your Scrum skills when deciding which path is right for you. Let's talk about how Scrum Masters can really boost a team's Agile understanding through regular knowledge-sharing sessions. These aren't just meetings, they are designed to align everyone on what Agile actually means in practice. It's all about making sure the whole team speaks the same language, avoids misunderstandings that lead to wasted time and effort, and encourages innovation by exposing people to new ideas. We can do this through retrospectives focused on Agile improvements, collaborative pairing sessions, short lunch and learn workshops to delve deeper into specific topics, or even showcasing how team members are successfully applying Agile principles. Okay, let's talk about empowering those amazing development teams. As Scrum Masters, we're not in charge, we're there to help the team become truly self-organizing. Think of it like this: we step aside and let them figure things out for themselves, protecting them from interruptions and helping them communicate really well. We're coaches, guiding them toward taking ownership and making their own decisions. The goal is a happy, productive, and creative team that's confident in its abilities. Okay, let's talk about how we handle tough situations as Scrum Masters, specifically when things need a bit of extra support beyond what the team can manage on their own. The first step is always to bring it up with the team and see if they can work through it together. If that doesn't help, I jump in as the Scrum Master to really dig into the root cause and brainstorm solutions. Then, if the issue affects stakeholders or requires a wider view, we involve them directly. Keeping communication open and honest is key. Finally, if it's a major hurdle, we escalate it to our Agile release train or management team, always documenting everything that's been done so far. Okay, so let's talk about something really important when we're moving toward Agile. It's not just about the Scrum framework itself. It's actually about changing how people think can work together. There will likely be some resistance to change, which is totally normal. Getting buy-in from leadership is absolutely key, because if they aren't on board, things are going to be tough. And perhaps most importantly, you need to create a space where teams feel safe to try new things, make mistakes, and learn from them. That's psychological safety. We're shifting away from managers giving orders to leaders who truly support their teams. Regular feedback loops, like retrospectives, are crucial for continuous improvement, and we need to prioritize teamwork over simply hitting individual goals. Okay, let's talk about how to lead your Scrum team effectively through servant leadership. Think of it this way: you are not there to tell people what to do, but rather to help the masters do their best work. It starts with really listening and understanding what your team is facing. Then, you become a coach, guiding them towards self-organization and empowering them to take ownership. Don't be afraid to address any challenges or conflicts directly. It's about creating a healthy, supportive environment where everyone can thrive. Thank you for watching.